Did you know goldenrod makes an excellent tea?
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Aaron.
Me. You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Or what's inside. You suck. Finally, we're going to reveal the... Hey everybody, welcome back to Tomic's veteran of the comic book industry for 30 years. I'm a writer, I'm an artist, and this sucks.
She cooks nothing but chuck wagons, stew, and her name is Minerva. Ouch! She's the flower of the coward coach.
Don't start! We haven't left yet!
I always feel like there needs to be sort of a segue from the old guys up in the, what do you call it, the balcony, theater balcony, before I just like my picture pops on. So I don't know. I'm going to have to work on something to make that transition a little better. I kind of mixed up my intro, and I'm not sure I'm 100% happy with it. I'm throwing it out there. I don't know. It's just, anyway, welcome. It's Aaron Live. I'm, of course, Aaron. It's stunning to me how, and when I'm late, and today I was late, I had to help my daughter out. So I was a little bit running late. And, I used to be, when I first started this show, and of course that was 4 years ago or more, man, I'd be sweating bullets and what am I going to say and blah, blah, blah. Now I just like hit the intro. I run in, hit the intro button, and then we're off. So that's not to say I didn't spend a lot of time planning the show, which of course I did last night. I was up very late last night because we went over to see the kids and the grandkids and watch football. Woohoo! And so I got back late, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to prep for the show. So I did do that. I do take this seriously, but it's interesting to me, like how nonchalant I am about just, we're on the air, as opposed to when we first started doing this, and I was just like, so anyway, welcome. I hope your Sunday is a fun experience for you. And I'm here to add to that experience. I'm not promising any fun. I'm just simply saying that it'll be an experience. We have the return of Creators Corner today. And then later, I think Dan Lawless texted me and he said, hey, I don't got anything to do today. Can I come on? I'm like, sure. After Creative's Corner, then you can come on. So he's going to have to wait a little bit, but hopefully Dan will not have found something better to do, and he'll be joining us later, maybe to look at the Ploog covers and the Bigfoot videos and, all the other nonsense that we do here for your, hopefully, enjoyment, and it's not a torturous ordeal or anything. I got these buttons down here on the bottom, and I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what all of them do. So I probably shouldn't be like pushing those buttons right now if I'm not sure what they do. But clearly the make Aaron look better feature is not on today. All right, let's see who's here and let's get on with this craziness. Karan Zenith, all the way from Australia, is here. He says, and he's reinforcing that he's all the way from Australia. Just want to say good day, Aaron. Please consider joining John, of course, he means Malin, on his members only stream. Congratulations on the new addition to the family. Blessings to you and your family. Yeah, I don't know much about this other than Koran Zenith or Corin Zenith or whatever posting on Twitter that Malin should invite me because they're doing a Creep Show Omnibus review, I think is what that was. I didn't even know there was a Creep Show Omnibus. Now, I remember the very first Creep Show that was Stephen King and Bernie Wrightson. And so I don't know if I assume they're talking about the book, the comic book adaptation, not the actual movie. And was there a Creep Show 2? I think there was, which I don't think I've ever seen. But I did see Creep Show 1, and I did buy the Creep Show book. I don't own it anymore. Sadly, it's the beginning of the not so great Wrightson era. It was just past the brilliant Wrightson era. So I kind of, I'm mixed on it, to be honest with you. I'm not a huge Stephen King fan either. So I might be the guy, if I were to do it, and of course, I'm not going to force my way onto John's members only show. That's ridiculous. I would never do that, or at least try to force my way on. I couldn't actually force my way on, but yeah, I mean, I certainly, if he wanted me to come on, I certainly would, but I don't know actually if he would extend an invitation or not. Anyway, whatever. I don't even know I'm not actually even sure of the material that he's covering. So, but anyway, there you go. I don't know if I answered that question. In fact, I don't know that I even did, but those are my thoughts, as disjointed and inconclusive as they may be. JS is here. Now there's Corin Zenith, and then there's Corum. And sometimes I confuse the two, but Corum says you really need to make an old school Marvel monster style character called the Ploog. Funny story about Ploog, because we're going to be looking at Mike Ploog's covers today. There was a sound effect in the first issue of Sludge that I did back in the day at Malibu. And I think this gang member had like some sort of sword or knife or something, and he stuck it into Sludge and then pulled it back out. And I think when he jabbed the knife in, I think the sound effect was Plook, Plook. And I desperately wanted to change it to Ploog. And I didn't ever do it. Now, had I been in maybe a greater position of power, I might have felt more confident, trying to push this through. But I didn't do it. But the thought was there, and I guess that's what really counts, right? Past Master Dan is here, and he's pushing our goods and wares, and we always appreciate that. Past Master Dan, thank you for that. Repairman Jack is here. Go Big Red. That's Nebraska right here, baby. You need a better Nebraska hat, Aaron. He is referring to this crappy one. Now, see, what happened was, I do need a better Nebraska hat, but my Empire Comics hat, which my grandson loves to take off my head, and so it got taken off and then got left down at my son's house for a week because it's far enough drive that you just don't want to, it's not get in the car, go and come back. It's it's a 45-minute drive each way, so it's like So I had to substitute my Empire Comics hat for my Nebraska hat, which is really beat the heck. So anyway, but now I've retrieved my Empire Comics hat, so we're going to go with that because it feels like self-promotion is probably a better way to go. There's Incon-sequential artist. He says, greetings, Aaron, in chat. New name suggestion, The Gear, Grand Education Art Review. I'd be happy to be a gearhead. I think actually the name of like the fan group or the following or whatever, Gearhead is actually better than the actual name of the show. But thank you for the suggestions. We can never get enough of those. There's me telling everybody that his start time got changed. Pantheon's here. Randy Howell, all the way from Canada. And apparently he was here on time and then had to count it down using the 200 bottles of beer on the wall, 200 bottles of beer. You take one down, pass it around, 199 bottles of beer on the wall. And that's how you pass time on road trips. Or at least they did back when I was a wee lad and shouldn't have been singing about beer anyway. Corey Landis is here. That'll give me a chance to see the end of the Lions game getting butchered. I don't know who Detroit is playing today, but Detroit, aren't they on the uprise? Didn't they like have 2 really good years right in a row? And now you're telling me that they suck again? NFL, man. Marcus Killer Group, purveyor of all things pop culture knowledge, is joining us. There's Leg Kick because a Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. Best Age Comics wants to know what's up with 4 p.m. time. Again, I told you I was had to help my daughter out, and so that kind of delayed me a bit. But hey, stuff happens. Life happens, but then the show must go on. So both things are true. I almost thought if I didn't have people coming on, I was thinking about, you know what? I should do another late night Aaron Live, because last time I did that, I had a pretty good crowd. It was a different crowd, but I had a pretty good crowd. And I'm thinking, maybe some late night specials might be in order on the weekend every once in a while. There's Stealth X5 is joining us. Oh, and Stealth and Inconsequential, I did get your art. Both you guys got the artwork sent out. Let's say it's Friday, I think. So you should be getting it soon. Bill Maxwell is here. The Geek Easy says the Steelers won despite how crappy they played. That is with Aaron Rodgers, right? I love it how everybody, like Aaron Rodgers is like 41 years old now. And what I would give to be 41 again, but that's not the point. The point is they keep acting like he's the Aaron Rodgers of 20 years ago, and he's not. He's a 41-year-old quarterback, which means he's not going to be nearly as good as he used to be. But people keep signing him thinking, oh yeah, this will push it over the top. And I don't really get it. But anyway, there you go. But apparently they won, so there you go. The Geek Easy's here. Matthew Muma is joining us. We're grateful. Thank you. Gemini Dragon is here. Michelle Bowers, look at here it is. As promised, Michelle, she has a sword in her hands and her little avatar right there. This is a dangerous woman. So be very careful with Michelle and her. But now that I love how that she's promised she'd do an icon of her with her sword, and now she's done it. And I think it really fits what we've got going on here. So thank you, Michelle, for that. Spaceman joining us. Moromi is here. There's Stealth X5 for $2. Thank you, Stealth. He says hello. Thank you very much. Hello back. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the $2. Pity Maw's joining us. Pity Maw's husband will be joining us for the Bigfoot videos, but apparently that's all. Blue Neptune. He's got his box seats. Thanks for joining us, Blue Neptune. Appreciate that. Who else we got in here? Let's see here. Strange conversations going on. Sequential Treasures is joining us. Aaron is a button pusher confirmed. I do. Pushing buttons, especially if they click, is very satisfying. Iodine 74 is here. Ello says hello. I'm late. Was listening to the Jaguars post game. I'm late. So everybody's on time, basically, is what we're finding out here. Eric N. Boyd is joining us. Agent Zero. Now, Agent Zero, you sent me something about going to Heroes Con. And you know, you would try and get them to invite me to Heroes Con. And I said, well, if they pay for my flight and my hotel, I'd love to go. And then you gave me this like weird emoji, like that was an unreasonable request. At my age, there's no unreasonable requests. Let's see. What do we got here? Jay Dredd joining us. Thanks for joining us, Jay. And let's see. Everybody's saying hi to everybody else, which is that we have a friendly chat, and I appreciate that. Grey Wolf is here. Randy Howell throwing $2 Canadian, says, I saved you a beer. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that very much. Jimmy Owens, he says, hey, Aaron, Seahawks just lost, fumbled the ball, of course. I think I need a Rolaids. I'll watch the replay. Gonna watch something with Johnny. All right. The great thing about me, I'm always in reruns. That's not exactly the Running Man line, but, you know, the thought's the same. Oh, Sean Clancy, a Seattle area art collector I've known for years. First time catching you live. We've discussed Mike Ploog in the past at Portland show a few years ago. Yes, we did. We might have discussed it while he was there. Michelle Bauer says, yes, I kept my promise. Michelle keeps her promises. Brian Suddenly Old is here. Haven't seen Brian in a while. Thanks for joining us, Brian. Appreciate that. And I think I got every... Agent Zero says, Aaron, my thinking emoji was to show that I'm thinking of a way to get Heroes Con to give into your demands so you can come out to us down south. Well, you know, here we are. And when you go and do a show, it's like if you have to pay to go do the show, then it's kind of like the money you make is paying for you to go do the show. So it's kind of like, what's the point? I mean, I love Heroes Con. It's a great show. It's a great comic book show. I love going there, buying some comics and stuff like that. But I've got to pay for the whole thing. It's kind of like, and the thing also with the internet now and doing shows just like this, I picked this up for a reason. I can reach more people doing this than I can going to a show. So then you really start to get picky about where you go and how much money you spend going there. Now, San Diego is like a drug addiction. I've been going there since 1987 or 88. And also, if you get a booth there, if you give it up, see, I'm not going this year, you'll never get it back. And I've got a great booth placement. And yeah, it cost me a fortune to go. And yeah, I usually come out a little bit ahead, or sometimes I'm lucky a lot ahead, but usually just a little. But I can't not go. They've got me right where they want me. And but every other show is very different. San Diego is the only show that I would pay my own way to. Now, when I go to Puyallup, Washington, and go to SummerCon, I pay for my own way up there, but I drive up, you know, so. But then they pick up my hotel, and they have like great food in the green room. So it's, you know, so it's really, other than the gas I spend and the time driving up, it's like, you know, it's a pure profit show. So even if I don't do really well there, I'm still doing better than, you know, not going at all, right? So those are the kind of things I, you know, take into consideration. And I know Heroes Con is kind of a big show, and they're not really sort of all that interested in bringing people out, especially me. But yeah. But again, it's flying cross countries. There has to be some sort of incentive for me to fly cross country. Now, the Geek Easy, though, is saying, I first met and became aware of Aaron at a con. It was cool. Well, okay, there is that. There's always that, because there's people, as much as we like to think the entire world is on the internet, that is just not the case. You got about like 20% of the people in the United States are internet people, which is remarkable to me, but it's true. And so you're always running into people at shows that never knew. I mean, I had a guy come up to me, and I said this maybe on the Bros. I can't even remember what show it was. Maybe it was backstage. It doesn't matter. Guy comes up to me at a show in Northern California that I went to a year and a half ago. And he comes up and he goes, so what have you been working on since Wonder Woman? Okay, those of you who don't know, I drew Wonder Woman back in, I think, 2012. So, basically, what have you been doing for a decade? He had no idea what I'd been doing. And I'm like, I've been publishing this Wraith of God thing. I've been doing this Kit Carter thing. I've been, no idea. So I sold him a couple books. I think I did. I can't remember. Maybe I just gave him my website. But anyway, so yeah, there's always people you meet at shows that you're never going to come across with on the internet. So there is some advantage, but that number is usually low considering how many people I come in contact with doing this. Marcus Killergoose says the incentive to fly to North Carolina would be to meet me, of course. Now he says me, meaning him, not me. But I would like to meet Marcus Killergoose. I know a lot of you guys are East Coasters. Aaron on the cheap, low Presti. Absolutely. I'm dirt cheap. Except I'll spend money on food and old comics. So if I could build my house out of old comics. All right. Where are we? Let's do this.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
My mom, my 94-year-old mother, who I've got bagging stuff right now, orders this stuff in bulk from like Costco. And so she accidentally ordered these M&M's Keebler cookies. And so she keeps coming in here like, here, have some of these. It's like, all right. So we're going to eat one of these. 230 calories for one bag. So this is like what, 30 calories maybe? I'm not gonna have one. That's all I'm doing. I've been eating too much candy and crap. I'm working out all the time, but I'm not losing any weight because I keep eating like crap. I've got to stop. And maybe someday I will. All right, but as I chew and talk, let's take a moment and see what Frank Frazetta has for us today. That is a classic big booty painting by Frazetta. I really like that one. Like the lighting on it. And it was, I remember buying the Ballantine books, The Art of Frank Frazetta. And, like the first edition or the first volume one, there's a lot of stuff in there, even as a young person when I got it. I think I was 11 or 12. I'd still seen quite a few of the paintings on book covers. But as you went along, as the subsequent volumes started coming out, they would always have pieces in there you hadn't seen before. And that I remember always being, like excited when I flipped the book and say, oh, I've never seen that before. Now, that was one of those paintings. I can't remember what volume it was in, but I was like, oh, a new one. I hadn't seen this, but I mean, it was 1968, so it wasn't new, but it hadn't been reproduced in any place that I had seen it. And so that one I always have fond memories of that one because it was one of those, excited one you hadn't seen before when I first saw it. I guess that's true of anything. The first time you see it, you've never seen it before. So I guess that was a dumb statement, but like I said, there's always, like with Frazetta, there's so much exposure to Frazetta. There's always most of the stuff you've seen. Oh yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen that before. And then you see a couple that you hadn't, and that's always kind of a cool thing. So I always have a soft spot for that one. Plus, like I said, I think the lighting is particularly good in it. And you'll notice that it was painted in '68, but not used as a book cover till what was there, 72? I think it was 4 years later. So, and I'd be willing to bet that has nothing to do with the story. They're just like, can we get a Frazetta painting to use as a book cover? But that's fine because Frazetta sells books. Everybody's saying it's cheeky. Spaceman says, I found taco flavored Doritos in the market yesterday in the original orange and white bag. They're so freaking good. Okay. Doritos are probably not really great for you either. Everybody commenting on the butt cheeks in that painting. Gary Martin tuning in says, what the heck is your age rating for this show? Well, I don't know. A big booty like that in the swamp, that's probably PG-13, right? There's Dan Lawless. He'll hopefully be joining us later in the show. Let's see here. Okay. All righty. Well, sorry, I'm moving some stuff around that, well, you know what? Let's just, I've stalled long enough. That was all I was doing. I was successfully stalling until I can run this. Here we go. It's time for Creator's Corner. Okay. I haven't had Phil on for a while, but Phil's helped me out many times with his technical advisements and making videos and things like that for me. So he's got a new book. I thought, you know what? Let's bring him on, see what he's got to say about it. Everybody, please welcome Phil Diaz.
Howdy.
Phil, remind me, what does ZAID stand for?
It's a very complicated acronym that stands for it's my last name spelled backwards.
Oh, duh. Okay. Well, no one ever accused me of being a genius. So
it's not the first time I've had that question asked.
So you've got a campaign, and it's like you're like doing it on your website, right? You're not like crowdfunding it in the traditional sense through like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, but you're actually doing it on your website.
Yeah, it's basically like a pre-sale campaign, I guess, or pre-orders. So yeah, it's something that I've been working on for years now. And my artist, Oliver Isabedra, is phenomenal, but he's kind of slow. I wouldn't even say he's slow. When I first got introduced to him, I hit him up for concept artwork because I've had this story in my mind for a really long time. And I'm like, I need to get it out. I already have 2 other titles that I'm working on, but this is just keeps popping up in my head. And I wanted to see it visualized. So I hit up Oliver for concept art, knocked it out of the park. And I'm like, I have this story already, like this short story already written. Can we start on it? And he's like, yeah, I'm a little slow. I'm like, take your time. I have other projects I'm doing. So he was able to take his time with this. And we're 2 issues ahead now. And so I'm like, this is the perfect time to put this initial issue 0 out to get people ready for a series. So yeah, we're doing it on our own site this time. And if we get it collected one day, I think like the first arc is 5 issues and get it colored up. I think we'll crowdfund that. But now we're putting it up on our site.
Well, okay. Did you I don't mean to get too far into the weeds on this, but
Mhm.
I am, as a creator myself, I'm curious about these things. So did you have to like rebuild your website to like accommodate this thing? Or, I mean, did you do this yourself? Are you like the techie enough guy to do this, or did you have to hire somebody to do it? Or what's your story?
No, yeah. So I have a friend, Shani, who's in our chats all the time, and she does a lot of web design for her day job. And so we've had this site for a really long time. I basically outfitted it to make it look like this, just with all of the bells and whistles that Squarespace provides. And then she did the counter and then the actual like funding bar as well. So yeah, I'm super happy with how it came out.
Yeah.
Really, really, really fun.
Okay. So, what are you peddling right now? Are these 4 across here, or?
Yeah, so those are the
What is
different
this?
the different covers. Yeah, actually, if you scroll up to the top, there's a little trailer. Uh, it'll explain. Yeah, that's the trailer. You just hit that little white triangle in the center, and then
Well, here goes nothing.
you can blow it up.
Oh, can I?
Yep, you can.
Can you hear it?
No,
See, that's the problem.
that's okay. Yeah. So, but
Hang on a
there
second.
is. Okay. I promise you, there's sound.
Yeah, I know, but there's the way StreamYard is now. If you don't open it in the right window, it won't give me sound. So let me do it the right way.
I know how it is.
Okay, this should work. Okay, here we go. No, can you hear that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Once upon a time, there was a gunman. His heart was cursed to rot with every soul he took. He was a man who carved a path of revenge through bullets and blood. A man who will find out how much of himself he's willing to lose in order to get back what's been taken from him. He's the man with no strings.
There's the covers. There you go.
Hey, I figured out how to use my computer. How about that? See, I learn something new every day. Okay,
Yeah.
so these are all black and white, kind of like preview comics. Is that kind of what they are?
Yeah, so we're releasing them as single issues going forward, because another crazy thing we're doing on this for this series is we're printing them ourselves. So we have acquired a printer, like a really good printer that our day job owns. I work for this awesome arcade out here, and we have a print shop too. And we figured out that one of the printers we have could fold and staple comics basically and print them. So this is a very experimental like venture for us, because we're going from using outside printers like Mixum to do our trades in the past for our crowdfunders, and now we're kind of doing everything ourselves, cutting out that printer cost and doing different versions of the comic. Like that, the first cover there is regular comic paper. It's about 70-pound interior, 80-pound. It's technical stuff, guys. Sorry.
Right.
Cover. But then that last one, all the way over to the right, is our retro newsprint version, which is the version I sent over to you.
Right.
To check out. And we also printed that ourselves too. So we're
you printed on newsprint yourself.
Yes.
Interesting, because I know that Pete Cimetti's doing that as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's funny how this sort of this retro. In fact, my printing rep, we went to dinner at San Diego, and she's
Mhm.
like, because I'm talking about my next project, which I have not announced yet. But anyway, talking about newsprint and different things like that. And she goes, "What is it with newsprint? Why does everybody want newsprint? It's crap." And I was like, it's retro. That's why people want, they want that retro thing. It has nothing to do with, well, if this is a better quality paper. It's just like we want that sort of,
The
that
retro feel. And I think the reason that large printers don't do it is because the majority of things they're printing, no one wants on newsprints. So they
Right.
just don't stock the paper. And then because the paper is so much lighter weight than regular paper, they have to recalibrate all their machines to handle it. Or if they don't, it's going to mess with it's going to compromise the newsprint basically because the machine's being too heavy with this paper because it's used to using like a 70-pound regular paper.
Right.
Um,
Right. Well, and also,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Pete was always saying, that basically you have to have a web press because that's what they were, more designed for. But hardly anybody uses web presses anymore. I mean, they still are, and I know he was the reason he wanted to do it himself is because he was getting too much stuff damaged and stuff was inconsistent. And, it's, I mean, I get it. It's, you're like going backwards in time in an industry
Yeah.
that's trying to move forward. And they're like, what? Newsprint, web presses? What are you guys talking about? You go, come
Yeah.
on. And so it ends up becoming, in some ways, it could be a more expensive proposition.
Yeah. You
That's
could
what I
actually,
heard is that newsprint's not any cheaper than the more expensive paper in some cases.
yeah, I'm not sure in every case. It is for us. So our cheapest version is the newsprint version. It's $10, just $10 for the issue 0. On that, you can actually click on those individual images and they should blow up. So we're offering the regular colored cover. Look at that. Of the Man with No Strings. You can see our protagonist there. Now, this is a weird Western fantasy. So it's not a straight Western. It's something like I would call, like, I'm a huge spaghetti Western fan, like those late 60s, early 70s Italian films. So those had a big influence on this. So it's going to be lots of action, brutal. There's going to be heart-wrenching twists in here. Like I love in so many of those spaghetti Westerns, but it is under like the weird Western genre. So there's more fantasy elements to it, monstrous villains, witches, ghouls. Our main character is cursed. So as you heard in the trailer, he's cursed. His soul is cursed to rot with everyone he kills. So he's on this path of revenge and vengeance. But as you see him throughout the series, he's losing his humanity as he steps down that path.
Very cool. I like this sort of, I don't know. I don't know how this sounds, but he's got kind of a 90s image kind of feel to his work,
For sure.
which is really cool. So Phil, would you give me credit for reigniting the Western craze? Do you think maybe that's?
I think so. Yeah. Cause look, I have right here actually,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
my prized possession, the Wraith.
Oh, the
of
Bisley
God.
cover.
The Bisley cover, and look at that, signed
Oh,
by the Biz himself.
So that must have been when he went through Chicago, right?
Yes.
You're in the Chicago area, right?
I am from Chicago. I'm not sure if I had him sign this in Chicago or I've seen him down in Texas too, but yeah. Now I got to come up and get you to sign it.
You know what's interesting is that you could be in a spaghetti Western. You got that look, but then you also could be Merv the Astro Chimp in Kit Carter. So it's like you're this weird sort of, you're almost like Clayface in a way. So it's interesting. You can assume many roles.
You have a very mushy face.
There you go. It just kind of goes with whatever it needs be. Okay, so this is the black and white cover, obviously, of the color one we just saw. So this is like a total virgin cover with no trade dress or anything?
Yeah, for sure. I found out over the years there's a lot of readers and a lot of, especially artists that are readers, really love the black and white line art. So we're doing that. That's the same price as the colored cover. It's $15.
Mhm.
And then the next one, which is something we learned we could do with this printer as well. My brother's like, hey, I have some Bristol paper. Think we could turn that into a cover? So this is blank sketch covers for all you guys that love going to conventions and getting your favorite artists to sketch on them. Or I've sold a lot of these to artist buddies, wanting to draw on them. So this is 100-pound smooth Bristol as printed as a cover, which is
Now that's okay. So you guys, again, I keep forgetting, you're printing this yourself. So you guys
Yep.
found your own Bristol paper and said, "Hey, this will work," and printed the logo on there. That's cool.
yeah,
Because,
and
you know,
it's printed really cool too.
the problem for years with sketch covers was like Marvel and DC would use the worst freaking paper in the world. And you draw it and it'd be fine. You say, "Oh, I'm going to ink this, put a little marker on there," and then the marker would just be all splotchy and gross because the paper was horrible. It wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
So I think they finally got that stuff figured out. But I mean, it took like years, and it was just really frustrating. But that's neither here nor there. I do like your logo quite a bit. Did you design that? Who designed your logo?
Thank you. No, my great friend and collaborator Alan Alonso. He goes by the Howl Comics on Twitter and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
He's fantastic, and he's done a lot of our logos. Like all the stuff throughout the Lost pages is mainly him. He also he draws our Masquerade series in the Lost pages. So he's kick-ass. Yeah, definitely hit him up if anybody needs a really good logo.
Yeah, that's really nice. I like that. Okay, so let's take a look at one more cover, and I do really dig this last cover.
I thought you would. So cool.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this was kind of a last minute thing because we've been planning this for a really long time. Then we figured out we have this printer. Let's do some tests on it. We ran the regular ones. They came out super cool. Then we looked into newsprint. We're like, can we run news? Can we get newsprint?
Mm-hmm.
We were able to get a ream of it, do tests on it, and I'm like, all right, we could do newsprint. I had this cover already drawn by Oliver, just as like a pinup cover, and I'm like, we should make this newsprint one have a special retro vibe, and props to you, those old retro covers you did on Wraith of God really inspired me doing a throwback version. So all of the newsprint issues going forward are going to have this trade dressing, and this is very much inspired by like All-Star Western,
right? Yeah,
DC stuff.
Yep. Now you look like you put a pattern over this because this is not newsprint. The cover isn't.
Right. Yes, the interiors are only newsprint, and the cover is actually the interior paper from the standard book. Okay. So it's 70 pounds.
This
paper.
No, I'm not showing anybody inside because I know you don't want that stuff revealed, but I'm feeling it right now. And this feels like this is a newsprint in here?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it feels coated, which is interesting.
Which
probably takes the ink better.
30 or 40 pound newsprint. Did you say it tastes better? that wasn't one of the snacks, Aaron.
He wasn't supposed to eat this? No, I said it. It takes the ink better.
Yeah, I was super surprised how dark the inks look on that. And the gray, it being gray really has a cool retro feel to it.
Yeah, no, it does. It's really, really cool, but it's higher grade. I mean, you can tell it's newsprint, but it's higher grade than what we would have seen back in, well, you weren't even born, but back in the 70s when I was buying this stuff. But I do like that. I think that coating on it gives a little bit of weight to it, so you don't have the same bleed through and everything. So it's actually really nice, and yet still really lightweight.
I'm so glad you think so. Yeah, I was really happy how it turned out, and it's crazy too, the difference that you could feel in weight when you hold the standard comic and the newsprint is so much lighter. It's insane. Yeah,
and you can kind of understand how difficult it was to keep some of these comics that are 50 years old in mint condition.
Yeah,
with just no, there's hardly any substance there at all. It's like you look at it wrong and it's going to bend.
Right.
So, okay. So the campaign itself for these black and whites is running exclusively on your website.
Correct.
You'll find a link in the description of this video that take you right there, folks. And so you're basically going to fund these black and white preview books through your website, and then you're going to do like something bigger through crowdfunding, or exactly what are your plans beyond this?
Yeah, I think that's the plan for now, because like I said, this is issue 0. It's already done. Like, proofs it's been edited. It's ready to go. It's going to ship out in November. So we got basically until Halloween to, do the rounds, promote. I have a bunch of people doing sketch covers right now that we're going to put up kind of like every week as a special original art thing, because this is drawn digitally. And then once it ships out, issue 1, which would be the next book, is already drawn as well. It just needs to be lettered. Issue 2 is halfway being drawn, and issue 3 is already fully written. So we're going to try to kind of make this almost like a mainstream, kind of pacing with how these releases go out. And then once we get to, say, issue 4 or 5, that's when the arc would end. I'd like to collect it, maybe get it colored in that retro style, like that cover is colored, see how that looks, and then probably crowdfund that.
So the black and white is simply just for the purpose of these particular 0 issues. It's going to be full color when you move forward.
Yeah, when it's collected, I will definitely do a black and white collected version, but I want to see how it looks colored too, like a full colored retro collected version of the book.
Apex Comics says 30-pound newsprint is coming back. Let's get the spinner racks back in stores.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, well, yeah, it would be, but wouldn't hold your breath on that. That's the problem with comics. The profit margin isn't there for and even you don't even see magazines hardly anymore in stores. It's kind of depressing, but we're here to uplift you, not to bring you down. So I apologize for that. Pittymaw says, is the newsprint the same as the Titan Savage Sword of Conan mags that printing today? I don't know, because I haven't bought one of their magazines. Phil, have you?
Sure. No, I haven't. The only recent newsprint book that I have seen is a horror book coming out from, what is it? Bad Idea indie company. It's called Cul-de-sac. It's a Jonathan Wayshak does the interiors, which if you haven't seen his art, it's freaking awesome. He's like the modern day Sam Keith, more horror elements into it. But it's printed on a really toothy, thicker newsprint, and it feels amazing because his stuff has a lot of watercolor in it. Like, he paints with that, and it's perfect for that coloring. So I would love to source that paper. It would be super cool.
Yeah, I bought the first couple issues of the Titan Conan stuff, and then I just waited and got trades. And of course, the trades are different than the actual magazines. And I haven't picked up any of their black and white magazines yet, which I need to do, because that's some pretty good stuff. I mean, if you're, I love Conan, I love that kind of stuff. So I don't know why I'm so delinquent, but this is my entire career. People always tell me, "Hey, have you read this?" I'm like, no. It's like, as soon as I started working in comics, I quit going to comic shops, so I had no idea what was going on, because I was like always working. Brian, were you not listening? Says, Phil, are you going with Pete's newsprint comics?
No, I have a lot of friends that did that campaign he did was awesome, super successful. And I was super happy that it got funded. We were thinking about that, and then we were just like, why don't we try to do this ourselves and see if we can learn this, and because it when you're creating your own book and self-publishing, it helps to know as many aspects of making this thing as possible.
Well, and also, I mean, let's be real. If you can save money by doing it yourself,
Yeah, for sure.
it helps guard against campaigns maybe not funding as high as you'd hoped, which is always the risk we always take. But, and I also, Pete, I don't know, maybe I should get Pete on again, since I think that campaign's already funded and he's done the whole 9 yards, but I know Andy Smith is getting on his Lilith campaign, is getting one printed out on newsprint, a special newsprint edition. I think Pete's doing it for him. The problem with Pete's is that they're small print run. I think it's either 100 copies, I think is max, or something that he can handle, or maybe it's 200. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But if you were to do like a book that, was 500, maybe 1,000 copies, he wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, the thing too, I remember with his, I think he had a 48-page cap, which I haven't tested. I bet it's the same for our machine, but we haven't tried to do anything, any page count that high. This is a 24-page book. I think the next one will be a little bit bigger, but yeah. So, but for floppies, single issue stuff, and that's interesting too, because writing for a page count like that is much different than writing for a trade paperback, So I'm kind of having fun doing that. Kind of like a series.
I wish if I could go back and do things differently, because I didn't even here's some of the interior artwork here.
You can click on those as well.
I did not even think, at some point I might want to reprint Wraith of God and break it up and distribute it, as in comic shops. So I just wrote everything like, okay, this is an 80-page graphic novel or whatever it is. And I didn't look for those 20 or 22-page breaks. And now I've got people coming up to me going, hey, would you like to release this, in comic shops and floppy and blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, the first good break is at page 30, and then the second one's on page 50. And you're just like, I haven't done that on any of them. I was just looking at the third issue, which I'm almost done with. I've got a page and a half to go. And I'm like, even this doesn't break in the right spots. I mean, I might be able to fudge a little by adding a page here or there,
Right.
But going forward, any graphic novel I write, I'm going to make sure I have those natural breaks at about page 20 or 22, so that if I do want to break it up and re-release it in comic shops as a floppy, I could actually do it.
Yeah, that's smart. Some of the first book series we did, Magic Cop, I did write it in chapters. So it's like 4 chapters. It's about 92, 93 pages. So what we want to do now, because we're out of print of that one, we want to see how the colors, because that's full color, that book. We want to split that up and see how that looks on newsprint, and see if we could release, because there's some people in my chat are like, oh, we missed Magic Cop 1. We didn't get to read it, and now you're sold out of it. So we want to see if we could do a floppy run of those 4 issues. Yeah, that goes. That's kind of where we're going in the future. Yeah, look at that. It's crazy.
That's really cool looking stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were totally right. He has definitely that 90s image style. Anytime I show people, they always bring up, he's got like a Silvestri style.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure he loves hearing that, but Oliver's so cool to work with. He's such a fun person to collaborate with as well. And I hope we continue this for a long time, because there's a lot of content here. And the other aspect of it too, it's kind of like the art kind of contrasts the story, because this story has more of a 80s kind of like Vertigo vibe, very like strange, weird, little dark horror aspects to it, but lots of spaghetti Western action and kind of like muddy, bloody bullet stuff going on. So I think it has like a fresh new take on the genre, because I can't think of a Western that has this type of in-your-face art,
No, I mean, that's the funny thing, because to me, like, it's like, Westerns or barbarian magazines or, fantasy stuff tends to be more, just by nature, from an art standpoint, more illustrative, right? This is very much a superhero sort of approach to the artwork. And so it gives it a really distinct vibe. And I think it's funny that, you know, we look back at what we'd consider maybe an Image style. That's like 30 years old now. It's like a retro style now.
Right. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, the storytelling is going to be retro from the 70s or 80s, but the art is still retro because it's from the 90s.
Exactly.
Inspired. Yeah.
Oh my
But
goodness.
like, I mean, if you look like modern art, it's going very much more minimalistic.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about comic art, like modern mainstream comic book art on the stands right now. You look at a guy like Dan Mora, amazing artist, but he has minimal rendering. A lot of the rendering comes from the colors, and even some of the biggest titles right now have just pulled back on how much ink's on the page.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's always styles that are prevalent in different time periods in comics, but there's also always been a wide enough appeal that it had room for a variety of different styles and approaches, right? So even though Image styles dominated the 90s, you still had guys like Adam Hughes and Kevin Nolan and, more old school guys still working. Frank Miller was very different, obviously, than what Image was doing. So there's always room for that, despite the fact that one particular style may be predominant in the industry. There's always room for this other stuff. And it's just interesting to see what stuff rises to the top at any given era and then drops out and then something else rises. But it's still very open to a variety of different approaches, which is the one nice thing. I mean, you go way back in Marvel and DC back to the 60s, and you still have, what people would call house styles, but you still had Buscema was different than Gene Colan, was different than Steve Ditko, was different than Jack Kirby. They had similar things about how they did their storytelling, but they still had very strong personalities in their artwork. And so I don't know what my point was, but I just think it's interesting to, that's still going on. And like you said, it's trending in a certain way, but there's always outliers, Philip Tan or somebody like that, who's just a detail machine. Mm-hmm. And then you have guys like, Doc Shanner or the Dan Mora or more open styles, and it's just funny how certain things just grab on. And then
I love Doc Shanner's art.
Yeah. I don't know but I'm not the person to ask, but I don't know what these guys are up to, because I don't keep track anymore. But
they're him and his brother do covers together, and they just sign it like the Shannon brothers now.
Oh, really?
So I think his brother colors him. Yeah, I really enjoy his stuff.
All right, I want to. I got one thing here. I want to find out what the heck. What is that?
Oh, you've been attracted to the shell bean, Aaron, and you don't know. You've never heard tell of the shell bean?
No.
So the shell bean is a legally distinct mascot character. It's a mascot of the people. I would say it's in public domain. It resembles our dear friend who you've heard tell of, Shelby Robertson.
Okay.
This is Shelby in bean form.
This is okay.
And we 3D print these silly little models of the shell bean, and now he has a new hat. So this is the Western rootin' tootin' shell bean.
So Shelby Robertson is now become like a iconic character, bigger than life. And this is pretty hilarious.
I'd say probably this happened to him because you never let him on Greybeards.
Okay, let's not. Okay, here's the thing. I didn't know the guy. I don't know the guy at all. But Kelsey was like buddies with him, and Kelsey was always, oh yeah, I'll invite him. And then of course Kelsey disappeared.
Yeah,
we haven't seen Kelsey for a year, and so that was sort of his domain, was to go after Shelby Robertson, because I am horrible. If you want to be on this show, you have to ask me, because I won't ever invite you, and that's nothing personal. It's just that I plan this show like Saturday night. It's like I don't plan
I
ahead
get it.
at all. So,
Blame Kelsey.
Shelby, nothing personal. We'll get you on Graybeards, I promise. You just got to remember to do it.
So yeah, there's that.
Sadly.
Also, we have shirts. So I think you'll dig the shirt because this is also designed by Alan, who did our logo. Really, really cool, kick-ass shirt. If you click on like the next image there on the left there, you'll see it in look at that. Look at that. Wicked. So
now, are you printing these shirts to order, or are you like getting your minimum and hoping you sell them?
We use a service Printful, which they any of our shirts on our website you can order right now, and we don't touch them at all. They're print to order. They're printed near you. Like if you live in Germany, it won't kill you on shipping because they'll print it from a house or a print house near your country or in your country. So that's awesome. These ones specifically for the campaign, since we have a shirt included in the big bundle as well, we're gonna order them all at once at the end of the campaign. They'll ship to us and then we'll ship them out. But yeah, we have the main shirt, which you can get in a few different colors with tank tops, and then you can also get it in the big bundle, either of them in red or black. So
excellent. Very cool. And you got a tank top, which is basically the same thing. It's just a tank top.
That's right.
You got a looks like a
magnet
for like your refrigerator or whatever.
We were really secretive about the title of this book for a very long time. So everybody in the chat dubbed it the Whittler because I did leak out that our character does whittle, and I think issue 3. So I wanted to shout outs to all the memes in the chat. There's your Whittler magnet. It's the first time we're doing a magnet. So.
And you also have this cool wanted poster, which I really like too.
Yeah, this will be printed on canvas. So we could do that at our shop as well. So it'll be a really cool canvas, unique wanted poster print. And it comes in the everything bundle as well.
Very nice. All right. This is a cool campaign you got going here. You're running it all off your website. You guys, the link is in the description of this video. It'll take you right there if you want to check out and back some of this really cool stuff that Phil has brought to our attention. All righty, dude. I am going to have to move on with my my scheduled other crap that I have to do, but I know the people in the chat are very anxious to see what garbage I brought forth today. But I want to thank you, Phil, for coming on. I love talking to you. This stuff looks great.
Thanks, man. I hope
you
give that book a read. Let me know what you think, and don't spoil it for the chat.
I won't.
But I appreciate you having me on here. I got to go grab that Bisley T-shirt from your campaign.
You do it. We're almost done. I'm going to close down soon, so you don't.
All right. I will.
All right, dude.
You guys.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. All right, everybody. That was Phil Diaz pushing his wares, and there you go. So the return of Creators Corner. I got somebody else that I need to bring on too. That's got kind of a funky campaign that I kind of like. I just have been lazy about it, but we will do some more Creative Corner because that's how I roll. I don't even know what any of that means. I got to send bear with me here for a second. I got to send a link out to Dan Lawless. I don't know if he's going to come on or not, but I'm going to send it to him because I think he wants to talk about Mike Ploog. So we'll give him I don't know if he's still listening or not. Dan, where are you? I don't know, honestly, if I think technology is a good idea or not. Okay. So Dan, I'm posting the link. If you want to come in and talk Ploog and Bigfoot. There, I just sent on X. So there you go, Dan. Boom. Okay. Victor says, are you going to invite Renee Draws? I've had Renee on this show before, and I would have her on again anytime. But like I said, she's going to have to reach out to me because 5 minutes after I just said that, I forget. So, but yeah, I would love to have Renee on. I like Renee. And she has a pretty successful, campaign going on right now with her third, I think, doggone it, what's it called? The elf warrior thing. But yeah, here on Aaron Live, we build bridges. We reach out. We, so even people that may be a little controversial, except one guy I won't bring on, but I can remain nameless because I don't like to do that. But I think you probably all know who he is. Anyway, yeah, Fiendish. There you go. Yeah. I have Renee on anytime. Renee is what they call a kick in the pants. That's what us old guys used to call. There you go. All right. So let's see if Dan Lala shows up. But while we're waiting for Dan, let's take a look. Let's delve deep in to my flat Okay. Yes, Andy is too smutty for me. I run a clean ship. I try to keep this, PG-13 at the worst. So David Williams is also trouble. You never know what he's going to say. Okay. No, it's not Mike. Although Mike ticked me off recently, but I won't get into that. But anyway, okay. All right. So do we need to do a further deep dive into Garbage Man? I think we should. I was going to show, well, let me show you a couple things that I've been working on. I'll probably show these on Graybeards, but I can show them here too. Now, speaking of David Williams, he constantly mocks me for drawing too much. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is right. Okay. And so like I'll work on Wraith all day, and then at night I'll sit there and, sketch stuff for my amusement. Or in this case, I was just experimenting with inking styles. This is very sketchy, very rough, which I think suits Conan very well. But you can see the kind of the cross hatching back here, in the shadow areas, and it's really funky here on the shield. One of the things I don't do enough of that I constantly chastise myself for is not putting enough deep shadows in the drawings, because that's how you create volume, right? And that's why I love David Finch's stuff so much. He does have kind of his whole unique spin on how he draws stuff, but he spots black so well and creates so much volume in his characters. It's like me being a Wrightson guy, I should be doing that, but I don't do it nearly enough. So I was messing around with this. So I put these, pretty heavy, deep shadows right in here in the bottom of the deltoid. That's something that you see a lot from like Silvestri does that a lot. And it really creates volume in here. And I did it on the tricep as well. And then in the gut here, just created a lot of shadow areas. And it's really cool. I don't know why I don't do more of this. It drives me nuts that I draw stuff and I articulate everything, like the figure, and you're like, I don't want to cover that up with shadow. I put a lot of work on it, but it makes it so much better. I got to fight with myself. It's okay if you talk to yourself as long as you don't answer back. Okay, but I also did this, and I'm still kind of messing around with this. On the same night that I did that other Conan, because I got this kind of crazy Conan vibe. Now, I know I'm getting like Rob Liefeld jokes because I didn't draw his feet, but I was just sketching on 9x12 paper, which I should never do because I draw too big, and I'm just like, he's not going to fit on here. So you just kind of fade out the feet or the boots because I didn't have room to draw them. But I was more concerned with doing shadow placement, And again, trying to create volume, being more Frazetta-y and less, I don't know, less whatever else I was doing. Pastmaster Dan says there's Neil vibes in there. Of course, he means Neil Adams. Thank you for that. Says, you seem good at drawing the shadows while you have the time. Crunch in Graybeards. I think what he's trying to say is I don't do it as much in Graybeards because it's a time crunch. And I really, when you put in heavy shadows like this, you sort of have to think through it a little bit, because not only do you want them to shape the form, but you also want them to, they don't necessarily have to be 100% accurate, but you do want to get a nice design element out of them, like Kevin Nolan does really well. And so you got to kind of think about the edges and the shapes. And so it does take, it's more time consuming than you might think. And it's really easy just kind of to draw out the figure without any lighting. But then putting in the lighting takes that extra time. And a lot of times, you know, I don't, on Graybeards, I don't necessarily have the time I want. But there you go. Well, you know, there's some truth to this. Marcus Killer pointing out that I used to spend more time on line work and shading, and I kept finding that 9 times out of 10, the coloring wouldn't follow the shading that I'd set up, and they, you know what I mean? And they didn't color understanding the shadow placement that was already there. So as time went on in my career, this was at DC, I gravitated to more of an open style, because I figured the colorist was going to do what the colorist was going to do, and it would be less frustrating for me if I did something. And I showed these before, but it makes the point pretty well, I think. It's Justice League stuff, right? So there's a little bit of shading and stuff here and there, but you know, there's not a lot of articulation. It's a lot of this is very open, right? You know, there's heavy shadow here on Superman's arm and his leg here, and down here, but this is all like wide open, right? So there's a little bit of shading here, but if really what you want to do, like on Superman here, is you have your main light source coming in this way, and then this would be a reflective kicker light being kicked in on this side, right? And would fill in these areas here. But a lot of times they just would never do that. Or they would maybe fill the light this way and put the kicker over here, even though you've, you know, delineated a spot right here for it. And, you know, like here on Green Lantern, you know, you've got this shadow line running right here on his arm and down his leg. So that's telling you you've got a light source coming in this way, and then a kicker light coming from the back side that would be, you know, like blue light or a red light, whatever. And so I would do that a lot of times, and then they just wouldn't follow it. And then I'd be frustrated. So a lot of times I would just end up doing stuff more like we did for Flash here, where he's just really open. And it just kind of allows the colorist to do his thing. And so that, yeah, I think there's some truth to what Marcus is saying there, that maybe I just got frustrated with the coloring and just bailed on it and just said, I'm not going to go in and put all this work into heavy shadows and creating light sources and all this stuff and then have the colorist ignore it. But there you go. But anyway, I've been was stalling for Dan. I don't know if Dan's coming or not. Maybe he's not. Let's take a look at something else here I've got. And I think I should be pushing Garbage Man a little bit more. I do still have copies of of the trade paperback. Okay, we did that last week. Hang on a second here. I'm kind of doing this by the seat of my pants today. So you'll, here we go. So many buttons. So little time. Okay, so my idea for Garbage Man, this series was that there were 10-page stories in this anthology miniseries, right? And I took one of my pages in the first miniseries, Weird Worlds, and used one page to be like a cover for the issue, because the cover would be something that would encapsulate all three stories that were in the anthology. But I wanted each segment of Garbage Man to have its own cover. And I talked to the editor, who I think was Joey Cavalieri, and I talked to Kevin McGuire, who did something in there as well. And I said, dude, this is what I'm doing. We should all do this so that we have like our own little cover within the context of the comic. Well, everybody said, yeah, that's a great idea. And no one did it except me. So you open up the comic, and there's 3 stories in there. Mine's the only one that has an interior cover to the story. And so when we went to the second miniseries, which was My Greatest Adventures, so it's like the second half of the Garbage Man tale, I just dropped the whole thing and used all 10 pages for story. But in these first 6 issues, I did have the cover. And so once again, working in the Garbage Man logo as it's oozing out of his arm here. And again, the reason I'm showing you guys this stuff is I brought it up last week, was that Ron Garney had asked me what was my favorite stuff that I had worked on. And I told him Garbage Man. He kind of laughed. Because he obviously he didn't know what it was. But again, as I said last week, I had no deadline on this stuff. And so I really put a lot of work into it. Now so what I would do is I do the faux cover on page 1, and then the next page would open up and you'd have the title of the story. So you'd have the Garbage Man faux cover, and then you'd open up and the title of the story would be on the next page. In this case, it was Monster Smash. Of course, I did the lettering for this, and I was really just starting to get into doing my own effects lettering. And I was really, really happy with my Monster Smash lettering here. As Garbage Man fights this werewolf creature. Let me show one more page from this. Okay, this has no monsters on it, but I do like this page a lot. And so we have these 2 dorky hunters out in the woods who think they saw Garbage Man in the shadows, so they thought they saw Bigfoot. Yeah, imagine me doing a story like that. So they're out there hunting Bigfoot and looking for their friend who's lost. And so I created these 2 very distinct, comical looking characters, basically arguing in the middle of the wilderness. You know, they hear the wolf man howl here, the one that Garbage Man's fighting, and this guy's scared, and here they are getting into this fight and stuff. But it's one of those Wally Wood things, right? The thing that Wally put out years ago about how to make a conversation interesting. And so you're just moving the camera around, trying different things to make the page interesting, despite the fact that it's 2 guys talking. But I think the comical approach to their character design, as well as, which one thing I always really emphasize is the acting, getting the expressions on these guys' faces to convey what they're talking about, making it more animated, makes it more enjoyable to read. And I just think this is a really good page, despite the fact there's, There's no monsters on it. And so when you have your throwaway pages or your, not your money pages, your character pages or your filler pages, whatever, and they turn out well, that's when you know you're feeling it and you're on a roll. And again, that's one of the reasons why I was so pleased with the work I did on Garbage Man. So there you go. Will Holloway says that he bought Garbage Man paperback, read it, and liked it. That is like the trifecta. Bought it, read it, liked it. Thank you, Will. I appreciate it. Hey, there's Bosch. How's it going, Bosch? Angela Curry. There's Chocolates Curry joining us. Thank you, Angela, for coming on in. All right. Exactly. It's Garbage Man, but not garbage work. Thank you, Bosch. Appreciate that. Yeah. Wallywood's 22 panels that always work. It was 24, 20. I knew it was in the 20s. But if you're interested, if you have not read Garbage Man, let's I just lost myself. Okay. Let's take a look at this real quick. I do have a website called aaronlopresti.com. You'll find a link in the description of this crazy video. My favorite place to go is the Shop Now button. As you can see here, I've got a store feature here. You got all products, prints, books, merchandise, and art for sale. Covers and pinups, pages, sketches, illustrations, view all. If you're interested in getting caught up in your Wraith of God reading, you'll find back issues right here. All covers are still available. So the first two issues both had, well, the first issue sold out except for the second printing, which has a new cover. But the second printing, I have copies of that for the first issue. The second issue, I still have all copies. Let me try that again. I have copies of all 4 covers, which are the wraparound, award-winning wraparound cover by me, the Tomb of Dracula tribute cover by me, the Tales of Suspense tribute cover, if you will, by me, and the Bisley cover by Bisley. And I'm running out of Bisleys. I've got maybe 10 left or less. Don't have a ton of the Tales of Suspense because the print runs on those were super low. But if you want to get caught up in your reading, you can order right now and get them. You also have Kit Carter. You can still get a hardcover. There's a couple of those left. Paperbacks still available. Here's the Garbage Man trade paperback you can get. These all come signed, by the way. And of course, you got prints, books, merchandise, some hats, things like that. My collection of sketches for sale is growing, and I try to get new pages up every day, but I got a ton of stuff, so I do it as I can. But as you can see, that Conan sketch is available right there, along with other stuff that you may have seen on Graybeard Studio. Kit Carter pages, all the ones that I am selling are available on this site right now, along with some Justice League pages and Swamp Thing pages and some other things. And I'll get more original art up there. I'm going to be putting up some Wraith pages pretty soon as well. Covers, I don't have a lot of covers left, mostly indie covers. There's some Archie covers. If you're nostalgic at all, I did 4 covers for the original Atomic Toy Box, which became Power Cubed. Also, I have copies of Power Cubed trade paperback if you're interested in the book section. But this is one of the covers I did when it was a floppy. When I released it through Image, it was called Atomic Toy Box. I did 1 issue and then eventually redid it as Power Cubed in its entirety through Dark Horse many years later. But this is actually the one cover I have left. I did like a anime type cover trying to cash in on the anime craze. Don't know that I did all that well with it, but got Jughead cover here. That book just recently came out. Fearsome. This is the cover that I did for Ethan's Fearsome campaign, and yet it never gets shown, but there it is. Got Future Quest featuring the Herculoids. Look at that. Hawkman and Adam Strange. That's covered in one of my very first sketchbooks. Got Firestorm cover, Injustice cover, some more Archie stuff, some more indie stuff. Black Turok, which was a thing at Dynamite for a while. So lots of fun stuff on this website. I would encourage all of you to check it out. And all you have to do to check it out is follow the link in the description of this video. And Jerry says, sorry, Aaron, I'm waiting to buy some original art for when you do Atari Force on Graybeards. You'll be waiting a long time, unless now, not this coming week on Graybeards. We have a special guest coming this week on Graybeards, but the following week we have, we will put up a contest in the chat. So whoever pays the highest amount of super chats, and it could be very little, it might be $5, who knows? But whoever collectively pays the most in super chats will get to pick a character for each of us to draw in the next episode of Graybeards that follows that. So guest this week, contest the following week, and then it's time to pay the piper the following week. So it'd be a great opportunity for you either to A, win the chat contest and punish each and every one of us by making us draw something we hate, or perhaps, as Gary suggested, I'm picking up my fake cigarette. I don't know why, but let us draw to our strengths, so you might get the greatest piece you've ever seen. So, there's two schools of thought, but there you go, Jerry. You can be thinking about that. Hail Aaron in chat. Garbage Man looks like he would tie a good knot for the trash bag and stomp it down the trash can well. Let me try that again. Garbage Man looks like he would tie a good knot for the trash bag and stomp it down in the trash can really well. I added a few words there to make that flow a little nicer. Pity Mouse says, yeah, I might have to, since you did. Okay, that's something else. Has nothing to do with me. You guys having your own conversation. Randy Howell, I would make Aaron draw strawberry shortcake. Yeah, but even my version of strawberry shortcake. So, like I might do the older version of Little Lulu or something like that, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, one other thing we're doing, I'm a little out of whack today. You have to forgive me, but we're doing our advertisements right here in the middle of the show instead of at the beginning like I usually do. Wraith of God 3 Fear Hollow. You guys, if you haven't backed this baby yet, please consider doing so, because it has 65 pages. Okay, it's a 65-page graphic novel. I am inking right over there, page 64 right now. That means, you know what that means? 1 page left. Now, my colorist, I think, Justin, probably, I haven't sent him the last, I think, 15 pages, I think. So he'll have 15 pages to color. The rest of the book is colored. And then I will have to go over the script again. It'll take me a day or two, and I'll go over the script again. If I have to tighten up some dialogue or whatever, then send that to the letterer. And then we're putting that baby together, and it's going to the printer. So it won't be long. So if you are one of the ones going to wait till the book is done before you order, and I totally get it, now's the time, because what's today, Sunday? I'll be done with this on Tuesday, barring any sort of weird disaster, which can happen at any time, of course. Marcus says, Aaron YouTubes instead of drawing his book. Of course I do, but I work 7 days a week. So, and I stream. Wednesday is the only day that's really, I do a lot of streaming, because we have Graybeards and then we have Star Trek after that. But I get my work done, and it would be faster if I didn't have to stream. But the reality is, if I don't stream, I don't promote the book. And so then it dies on the vine. So it's, this kind of juggling act. But, and Marcus knows that. He's just giving me a hard time. I think he knows that. Anyway, you guys, there's 4 covers for you to choose from, right? So if you say, God, I don't like that cover, Aaron, I go, well, what about this cover? And you can say, you know what, Aaron, I really don't like that cover. And I go, okay, well, what about this cover? And then if you say, yeah, you know what, Aaron, that's pretty good, but still not quite good enough. And I say, okay, well, then what about this cover? And then you say, Chris Stevens painted a cover for you. I've got to have that. And there you go. So you have 4 cover choices. You can get the 4-pack plus. It's right there. You can get all 4 of these covers. They will be limited, varying in print runs. Okay. So if the whole print run is, I don't know, 1,500 books, this is a smaller campaign than the previous 2. So the print run is going to be really low on this. And, you know, that 1,500 books, let's say that's the final number. I don't know if it is. You're going to divide that by, you know, like the most ordered, you know, the Chris Stevens is neck and neck with this one as the most ordered cover. And then these 2, I think this is the least ordered cover, the EC cover. I know Graham Nolan ordered one. People dig the 1972 Marvel cover. They're a lot of fun, and I dig them too. So anyway, I'm just saying, I'm not overprinting a ton on this because I just don't have the room to carry all this inventory. So where I overprinted on the first and second issue, even though we sold out of the first, just so I would have books so that people discovered it later. They could, you know, get the book and catch up. Not going to be the case with this. There's going to be a little bit of overprint, but not much. So you guys get in there and order now. You can see the fine coloring job that Justin Wright is doing on this. There's t-shirts. You can get that Bisley cover on a t-shirt. Are you freaking kidding me? If you're a rocker, how can you not want this shirt? Or the now classic Dale Keown werewolf shirt. And these shirts, they fit so nice. They're 50-50 blend. They're very high end. I'm not doing cheap crap. I'm doing the good stuff. And so I would encourage you guys to get one of these shirts if you haven't done so already. I have artwork for sale. This is a stretch goal value stamp that's actually in the book. There's like this anybody that's got Wraith of God 1 or 2, you know that there's like a kind of a Marvel bullpen bulletin type page in the back of the book. And each issue has its own little value stamp, like Marvel used to do in the 70s and a little bit into the 80s. So I'm recreating that. It's a Garbage Man stamp this time. That's it. It'll be full color, of course. But the original art is for sale right now on this campaign. You're also getting sculpture. She is from the nightclub. She's like the girl made of stone. And you'll get a card that comes with your order, the trading card. But you can get the original art on this campaign. We're also getting a trunk trading card also from the nightclub. And nightclub is secretly my favorite IP, but I don't think there's enough interest in it to really kind of push it forward too heavy, more than just backup stories at this point. But they have some really cool, weird characters in it. And this is one of them. Original art is available, but you also get the trading card. And of course, it'll be in full color. Wraith of God, Nouveau print. I've got my mom right now bagging these, rolling them, and tubing them. So if you were wondering, is Nana Faithy got anything to do? We're putting her to work. 94 is you don't retire. You just keep on moving forward. So she's working on these right now, and she'll be working on the books later. You can also get Wraith of God Roughs Volume 3, which is all the layouts, at least 48 pages of layouts for the graphic novel. So you can actually look and thumb through it and see what I drew originally when I was sketching out the roughs, laying out the page. And they're all signed and numbered. These are not over printed at all. It's just enough to cover damages. So these aren't available after the campaign closes. So you want to get those now. You can get your nightclub shot glass, poker chips, and of course you can order Wraith 1 and 2 on this campaign, or you can go to my website and get it faster. But if you want everything to come together so you can read it in one big expansive night of stories, that would be the way to do it. So there you go. That is your advertisements, your paid advertisements for this show tonight. Thank you for your patronage. And there you go. You'll find links to the campaign and to my website in the description of this video. All right. Well, I thought Dan was going to come in and join me, but apparently he is not. So we'll just go ahead and move on. We can find the intro. Here it is. Yeah, you know, I didn't know if I was going to do a Mike Ploog thing or not. I'm a big Ploog fan, but I didn't know if he actually did enough covers. He only worked really substantially on 3 books: Man-Thing, a little bit of Ghost Rider, and Frankenstein, and the Werewolf by Night. So I guess that's 4, right? So the majority of the covers are from those comics or those series, but they're good. And these are not in any particular order, of course. I am saving the one that I think is his best cover for last. But other than that, these are just kind of randomly picked that I enjoy. Now, this one I wasn't even going to put on the list, but it's kind of iconic, so I sort of have to by just the nature of it, although I don't think it's his best cover, but it is the first appearance of the Ghost Rider, so it does have great value. I do think Gil Kane's cover for Ghost Rider #1 is a far superior cover. It's way more dynamic, but you got to look at this and say, okay, there's some dude riding a motorcycle with a flaming skull head. Okay, I'm buying this. So you have to sort of appreciate it, even though it's a solid cover. But is it a great cover? Not really. Mike, no offense. Sean Clance says we recreated about 25 comic covers. So yeah, he did a bunch. You've had Ploog recreate that many covers for you? Are you serious? Sean's a serious art collector. That is amazing. That many. No, but there's some really good covers. They're all from the same title though. So it seems sort of like, or same title. So I didn't want to be too repetitive, but anyway, I found enough really quality ones that I was like, I'm going to do Ploog. So, okay. Paul Taylor says, of those, I only read Werewolf by Night. Well, I read Werewolf by Night too. I sounded like the mayor from Jaws there. Martin, my kids were on those beaches too. Sorry. I just saw Jaws recently again. So great. Paul, didn't I promise I was going to do a review of Jaws on this show? I guess we'll do it next week. That was late. I'm screwed up. Anyway, okay, Paul Taylor for Canadian $10. Thank you, Paul. Hello, Aaron. I hope you're well. I'm sad that summer is over. I hope the weather holds for another 6 months or so. Cheers. It's going to start raining here. It always does. I had a yard guy come out because we're going to redo the sod in our front yard because it looks like Southern California where they cut off your water, and it's really, really bad. And it's been that way for a couple of years. And it's like, I got to get new sod put in here. So anyway, the guy comes in and he's telling me, he says that, because I said, don't you have to get this in by like the second week of September? And if you don't, then it gets too cold and you got to wait till the spring, to plant new sod. And he's like, well, he goes, we're sort of getting California summers now, or California weather, I think is how he put it. That the summers are longer, not as much rain. I'm like, dude, are we living in the same state? I mean, it is true. We do get what they used to call, pardon the expression, it's not politically correct, but Indian summers where it's still nice through September and a little bit into October, and then it starts raining and doesn't stop until May or June. But anyway, he was telling me they don't get as much water. So his whole point was, yeah, we can extend, till late September if we have to put new sod in, and it won't be a big deal. So we shall see. Okay, enough of that. Oh, back to Ploog. I forgot where we were at. Now, let's dissect this cover. You've got Man-Thing on there, which makes it great. You've got a tree that's alive, which makes it better. And then you got the tree grabbing this chick by the hair, which makes it next level. So why? Here's what I don't understand. What girl is out boating in the swamp by herself? In fact, why would anyone, unless you're like, studying the swamp, if you're a swamp studier, is that a thing? Why would you be boating out in the swamp? I don't know. But that, without hapless teenagers in the swamp, you don't have a story. But I love this cover. I love the way Ploog draws Man-Thing. Yeah, okay, I said it. Well, I've been to New Orleans once, and all I did was eat. So I didn't do any swamp chasing. Okay, here's another Man-Thing cover that I think he only did like 6 Man-Thing covers, but they're all really good. Again, okay. It just, what do you got here? You got a big centralized character, and you got your villains. I don't know what the heck they're doing, and you got more hippies in the swamp. So what more could you want on this cover? It's just another great big drawing of Man-Thing, and there's action on the cover, so it's intriguing. You're kind of like, I might want to get this. In fact, I will admit that I did get it when I was a kid. There you go. Pleasure boating in the swamp. Perfect. Especially like the mosquitoes, right? And if you get lucky, you might see a skunk ape, but that's for a later segment in the show. Paul Taylor wants to know the important question to ask: did he ever do a giant-sized Man-Thing cover? Oh, he did, and we'll be looking at that right now. So, if you can only get one giant-sized Man-Thing, make sure you get giant-sized Man-Thing number 1. Here he is fighting the Glob or the Blob. The Glob. It's back from the dead. I didn't know the Glob was dead, but apparently he was. But now he's back. Come on. 2 globby monsters fighting each other? You got to be kidding me. Of course I'm buying this. And look at this, plus 2 more first issue Fright features. Probably reprints. But this was an original story, and I'm pretty sure Ploog did the story in this, although I'm not 100% sure Marcus Killigrew would know. Now, the other thing to be aware of, that's not Ploog related, but if you're going to go down the giant-sized Man-Thing road, you also want to get issues 4 and 5 because they have backup stories, Howard the Duck backup stories by Frank Bruner and Steve Gerber in them. One is the classic vampire cow story, and the other one is some giant frog thing. So it'd be the perfect gift for Ethan, actually. So yeah, you want to get one because of the great Ploog cover. And like I said, I think the Ploog, it's a Ploog story in there. Has Marcus commented yet on whether the Ploog is in this? In the inside, I think he is. But you also want to get 4 and 5 because you got the Howard the Duck stories as backups, but nothing to do with Ploog. But this is about as Ploogy as you can get right here. Now he did 6 issues of Frankenstein, and I kind of dig this cover. I liked his version of the monster. Now, like I said, he only did 6 issues, and this issue, Mike was apparently behind him is Deadline, and you may not be able to tell by looking at it, but this issue number 6, the interiors were shot from his pencils because he didn't have time to ink it, because he was penciling and inking these. So where's Marcus Killigrew? Why does he not have information for me? But that's all right. I forgive you, Marcus. But anyway, I dig this cover. I just think a nice big picture of the monster, which you always want. I like his face. I think his face turned out good. And you got, some, I don't know what this dude's wearing, but ooh, a giant spider too. I didn't even notice that. That was like a table. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's a giant spider. What more could you want? I like this logo a lot too. Frankenstein monster logo. I dig that. There you go. Ploog, inked by Frank Chiaramonte in the Giant Size Man Thing #1. Now, Mike told me personally, face to face, while I was at his house, not name dropping or anything, that, of course, he doesn't remember me now, but I was at his house and had lunch at his house. His wife made us lunch. That was very nice of her. Told me that John Verporten was his favorite inker. So I believe inked him on his Man Thing stuff. But all right, speaking of the Frankenstein monster, how can you not just love this cover? It's alive. Heaven help me. It's alive. Now, obviously, Dr. Frankenstein was trying to create a creature that lived, and yet when he does, he's shocked by it. I don't understand it, but still a great cover. You know what I like, and what a lot of us need to learn this lesson, artists, I mean, see all this bandaging here? You see how the lines don't really connect? It's like, don't over articulate your drawing. Like, don't draw every line of every muscle, This helps, I think, create kind of a volume and texture to it, where the more detail, or the more delineation, I shouldn't say detail, but the more delineation, sometimes it tends to flatten it out and not make it as interesting. And so, I mean, it's a very simple thing, but I think it works quite effectively here, how he did not connect these lines. It gives them a weight and a thickness that I don't think they would have otherwise. But again, that's just me. As Marcus Killigrew pointed out earlier in the chat, Ploog was an assistant to Will Eisner, so you can see little bits of Eisnerisms in his work. See, Eric Boyd, you come here to learn stuff. I'm like a high-end instructor that you don't have to pay anything for. So there you go. Yes, check this out. It's kind of expensive, meaning it's over $100 if you wanted to get like a near mint copy, which of course I have, but I bought them before all the Bronze Age stuff blew up. And so like a near mint copy, this is like 120, 150 bucks, something like that. It might be 200 now, I don't know, but you can get a copy of this pretty inexpensively if you're not all that concerned about grade or anything like that. And he did the first 6 issues, the covers and the interiors on the first 6 issues. Now, who was it? I think it was Sean, said that Ploog's favorite Werewolf by Night cover was issue number 13. Well, you know what my favorite cover is? 15. Yeah, baby. When Dracula Strikes. So this is part 2 of the was it the first werewolf Dracula crossover? I think it is. Yeah, there you go. Dracula number 18 was the first crossover, which, by the way, I have in near mint condition. But it's Dracula versus the Werewolf by Night. And then it finished off in Werewolf by Night 15. The first one was Ploog. It wasn't Ploog. This one is Ploog. So I just like the pose and the whole, it's a nice cover. And I own it in near mint condition. So there you go. This is another sort of, here we go. According to Sean Clancy, this werewolf by night cover is Ploog's favorite, and it's one of mine too because I have it on the list. Let's see here. From the darkness he comes, the terrifying man monster called Taboo. Looks kind of like a zombie Frankenstein dude. I'm all about that. I don't know what the girl's in there for, but you got to have a damsel in distress. But yeah, I need to get this. I don't have it. I have several Werewolf by Night issues, but I don't have this one. And I would like to get this cover, so it's on my list. Yeah, it's a UK cover. This is, I just dug it off the interwebs, but this is exact cover in the US. Just the pricing thing here is different. This is Ploog's first Man-Thing cover and issue, and arguably his best. I love the Man-Thing. I love the clown. He's carrying the dead clown. Of course, you have the hippies that follow Man-Thing around in the swamp are back there. You've got the open grave here. I love, again, you got this huge image of your main character, the Man-Thing. You got this dead clown, which is this really sort of, what? And it's very intriguing. And it makes a young lad like myself go, ooh, I want to read this story. And so, of course, I bought it. So, yeah, I mean, you take a clown, one of the most terrifying things ever created, put him in a swamp with the Man-Thing, and you got yourself a horror comic. Night of the Laughing Dead. There it is. So once again, a Steve Gerber masterpiece and a Mike Ploog sensation. But it almost, if you look at it, it almost feels like a little bit of a different inking job, a little tighter inking, a little bit more detailed inking that we normally see from Ploog. And but I really, really like this one. Well, Michael, he's sad because he's dead. It's hard to be scary when you're dead, unless you're like the living dead. If he was like a living dead clown, then that would be scary. But this guy's just a dead clown, which is very sad. Sad story. I think he went into the swamp to kill himself, which is even more tragic. It was a clown going to kill himself because his life sucks so bad. He should be happy, but no, sad. Okay. Got two more to go. Actually, we have one more to go because I already did that one. All right, this is my favorite. It's not even close. Ploog cover. It's not even close. Yeah, baby, it's King Cole number 11, or Cole the Destroyer, pardon me. He was King Cole, or Cole the Conqueror, through 10. Then Thulsa Doom comes and steals his crown away from him, and he goes on the run and becomes Cole the Destroyer. Because sales weren't great on the book, I would assume, so they tried to make him more like Conan, which being a Conan knockoff is not going to improve sales on your book. Just saying. So, Cole the Destroyer, I think it went to issue 26 or 27 or something, and he came back and defeated Thulsa Doom, became king again. And the series tragically ended. But the first 10 issues were, first 10 issues were the Severins, Murray Inc. by John, and they're just my favorite. I love them. Then Ploog took over for a couple of issues, and then it became whoever was available to draw the book at any given time. But this cover is killer. And I saw the original. It was hanging on Ploog's wall in his basement, and back when he lived up in Seattle. So this was in the 90s. It was a while ago. I was working at Malibu. So 90, probably 95-ish. And he had this original, which I think he's since, I'm pretty sure he's since sold it because I think someone else in Comic Art Fans has it. But originally this arm right here, I've told this story, but gosh darn it, I'll tell it again. This arm holding the axe was up encroaching in front of the title here. Oh, excuse me, the title logo. So John Romita Sr., who was the art director at Marvel at the time, instead of statting this and, having him, rework this on a stat, he cut this forearm out of the original art and then bent it down and then re-glued it so that it wasn't infringing on the cover logo. So, and when I talked to Ploog about this, 30 some years ago, he was not very happy about that he had done that. And I wouldn't be either. So on the original art, you've got this big X-Acto, this arm and the axe are cut out. So there's like a hole in the paper and then it's moved down and then glued back on. And then, so there's like this hole in the paper. And, but even despite that, I would, if I had the money and the opportunity, I would certainly buy this cover because it's freaking awesome. So anyway, and check this out real quick. Now, how do I do this? Can I do that? No, that won't do it. Do this. Yes. This right here, shot of Cole. This is by Ploog, and this is on the splash page of that issue number 11. So not only does it have his best cover, it also has his best splash page ever. It's just freaking incredible. And I keep seeing the original of this floating around, but you got to imagine the original of this would got to be 30 grand or more. So, yeah. I'd love to have either one of them. Sadly, I shall have neither. All right. So there is our little stroll through memory lane on the covers of Mike Ploog. But now, folks, it's time for our favorite segment of the show. Not finding Bigfoot, because doggone it, we try, but we never succeed. You know what's interesting? I just pulled down my viewer panel here. We have 107 people is all watching on YouTube, but we have 265 people watching on X right now. And if you're watching on X, you can't send me super chats. That's all right. I'll manage. Michael says, have you still not found Bigfoot, Aaron? Are you even trying? I am trying. I'm trying so hard that every Saturday night, like at 11 o'clock at night, I go, oh crap, I got to find some Bigfoot videos. So I can say living in Oregon for most of my life, and my dad taking us on countless fishing trips and camping trips, journeying off into the woods on my own or with friends, never did I see the ape-like creature Bigfoot ever. I'm just saying. So I have tried in the past, but I am fascinated with the possibilities. Unfortunately, we really don't uncover much fascinating stuff on this show. However, this week, I did uncover this fascinating video. Now, I was unaware of this. Okay, so here's the story on this. This was a video taken in Louisiana. It's by some guy named Ford, not Henry Ford, and not Gerald Ford. Honey Island Swamp in Louisiana. Okay, this allegedly, now I thought that the earliest video, Bigfoot, video was the Ray Wallace footage which was just prior, like months prior to the Patterson-Gimlin film, which was the famous one where, Bigfoot's walking. But this was apparently 1963, as you can see up there on the little thing right there. So, but I don't know if this was ever identified as Bigfoot, simply just as a swamp creature, or more likely some guy walking through the woods. But there it is. This, as far as I know now, would be the earliest, in quotes, Bigfoot video ever taken. 1963. And of course, the Patterson-Gimlin film was 67, I believe. Maybe it was 69. I can't remember now. So I don't know what we can gather from this. I can't. I mean, what cracks me up about this is this was shot probably on Super 8 film back in 1963, right? And of course, it's shaky and out of focus. And we go 60 years later, and still every movie is shaky and out of focus. So he basically set the standard that technology has yet to overcome on how to shoot Bigfoot videos. But I mean, I don't know. Couldn't that just be a dude walking through the woods? Or could it be the actual first real evidence of the cryptid known only as Bigfoot, but also known as the skunk ape, but also known as Sasquatch? So I guess he has many names. I don't know. But there you go. That's Ford's film from 1963. So I don't know. Has this opened our eyes to new wonderful possibilities, or is it just more of the same old crap? You decide. Well, he's on an island, right? So maybe the swamps around him, but not there. I don't know. It says Bigfoot on his way to Dallas to take out JFK. I've heard that. It's a possibility. That might be true. Okay. What do we got here? This is Indiana Bigfoot. So if any of you guys are in Indiana, apparently Bigfoot's out there too. I was unaware of that Indiana was Bigfoot country. But apparently every state in America at one time or another has been Bigfoot country. Let's see what we can see here. Now, the story with this is this family, it was just driving by. They thought they saw something in the woods. And did they? Did they? Did they? There he is. There he is. There he is. He's walking right there. There he is. Look at him. He's squatting down, looking around. And then he's squatting down. He's looking around. Now, the film cuts, and then he runs across the snow gingerly, so he doesn't slip and fall, like a guy in jeans and a coat might do. Little performance art here, though. The pausing and people in the car can see me. I mean, this right here, the little pose right there, it's kind of like I'm trying to give a performance. I'm trying to act like I might be a monkey dude. I don't look at his legs. I mean, that's not a dude wearing jeans and boots. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing what I want to see. Maybe I'm not seeing what's really there, which is this 8-foot tall, hairy monkey man. Maybe I'm just seeing a guy in jeans and a coat. But I will say that I feel like at the beginning right here, he's giving a little performance, and I appreciate that. Right. But then I don't know. He walks across like that. Do you see that little high step he made right there? This is a guy trying to make sure he doesn't slip on the snow. Look at this right here, right there. Boy, oh, yeah, that's just not a Bigfoot walking. But then he pauses right there and kind of looks at the road like, ooh, did someone see me? Is someone watching? So there's a little bit of a performance going on here, and I do appreciate the effort. But you folks in Indiana, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Where's Paul? Now, Paul's a biologist. He's our resident biologist, all the way from Canada. And so we always like to take a look at what his takes are on these things. He's probably stopping to take a dump, and those damn little tourists keep taking pictures. Now, if you could hear the audio, the people are like, oh my gosh, did you see that? And the wife's like, oh, what is that? What is that? And you hear a baby crying in the car with them, and they're like, so it kind of adds to the drama. And then one of the commentators that I stole this video from, who, of course, I stole it from him, but he stole it from somebody else, so it's all part of the game. And Maximum Fear. Check out Maximum Fear's channel. There you go, Maximum Fear. I'm giving you a plug. Actually, no, I didn't get this from Maximum. Did I? Yes, I did. But anyway, he's commenting that, see, the baby's frightened. And I'm like, the baby wouldn't even know there was something out there. So the fact that the baby's crying has no relevance to whether or not this is real or not, or if it's a guy or Bigfoot. So Dale A says Canada is drenched in Bigfoots. Well, has Paul Taylor ever seen a Bigfoot? If you're drenched in Bigfootery, wouldn't you have seen one? No. Credible people don't see Bigfoot. No offense to anybody who's seen Bigfoot. Okay. What are we looking at here? Oh, this is the bouncy Bigfoot. Yeah, okay. I can't remember whether this was taken. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so there's Bigfoot walking, or some guy. Bigfoot, probably. More than likely, that's Bigfoot. Okay, now we're looking at nothing. And there he walked there behind this bush. I think he's right here now. I think that's him. There he is walking again in more close up, because if you couldn't see it well enough when it was out of focus originally, we like to zoom in so it's really out of focus. So right there, is that Bigfoot? No, there he is strolling around. Again, the lack of performance in this video I find disturbing. Somebody asked me, like, what was the, I think it was Ron Garney, asked me, what is with this Bigfoot craze all of a sudden? I go, it's me. It's my fault. I started doing Bigfoot videos, and look what's happened. They're just, people are blowing up everywhere with their own Bigfoot videos. Look at it. They're running it backwards there so we can get kind of a better shot of it, and then he moves forward. And they always say, like, they get these videos and they go, oh, it's clearly 8 feet tall. And I'm like, what? How can you can't tell any, you're like a mile away. So anyway, I don't know. But the bigger question I have is, you got the walking stuff, but what is this right here? Is that him like crawling around like a spider? Is that just something sitting there? Is that like a bridge or something? I mean, what is that right there? Kind of feel like is it moving? I guess it isn't. So we get all this stuff. So Bigfoot walks over here, and then the guy starts looking around down here at the ground for some reason. And he's back up here. And I don't know, did Bigfoot walk right there? And then we got this thing over here, and I don't even know what that is. I'm very confused. I'm very confused by bouncy Bigfoot. I don't think that's very nice. Darren Wagner says, Aaron can't be bothered to check the chat. I'm intently scrutinizing scientifically a Bigfoot video, and you expect me to look at the chat too? Let's see. Oblivious. Will Aaron check the chat? Isn't this fun, guys? I believe it's real. Lopez, the lack of sharing the screen, I find. Oh, did I not? Did I not? Are you guys sure I didn't share that? Okay. Are you sure? How did I not share that? I'm sorry. Where to go? Are you sure I didn't share that? All right, here we go. Aaron, Paul Taylor for $10 says, this is a cheap way to get another chatter, and you're not showing the video on this one. Just made myself $10 Canadian for being an idiot. Only in America, baby. Oh, I guess in Canada too. All right. Sorry, guys. Let me try this again. Okay. I went through all that analysis, and here we go. Let's do it all over again. There he is. Okay, so now here's what I was saying. He was filming on the ground. And then here's this thing on the bridge, right? What is that? What is it? I don't know what that is, but I don't know why he's filming it. And then it fades out. Okay, here we go. So close up of Bigfoot. Now they're running it backwards. I feel like I've said all this before. And now we're running it forward again. And what do you make of that? I love how he's just casually strolling and swinging his arms like it's just another day in Bigfoot land. So, of course, pointing out that this thing is blurry as heck, and then they zoom in and do slow-mo so that we can see it even more blurry. Yes, classic Lopez. I don't have that many boomer moments. And yet y'all hung in there. I appreciate it. Michael Bancroft says, I'd say not an inch over 7'10". Paul Taylor sticking up for me. I appreciate that, Paul. This is actually the first boomer moment he's had in a while, so I guess we can cut him some slack. Thank you. Thank you. Marcus Killer, of course, is not worth seeing anyway. Pretty true. Okay, now what you're about to see next, and I'll try to remember to actually show it to you. Okay, so this is allegedly a infrared Bigfoot video. You tell me. Are you kidding me? Is that not a dude in a coat? I mean, what are we looking at here, folks? Can we kind of see a skeleton in there? Is that like these, the 3D glasses you used to be able to get in the back of comic books? Now that doesn't even look like the same thing. So that's the skull, right? You got the body part showing, I guess, right? I mean, would an infrared wouldn't show that though? It would just show like the heat signature, right? Oh, now they switched it, so he's going the other direction. So, like, to make us think he has more footage. I mean, I don't. Look at that hand. Look at that hand. I guess that looks like a brow, right? But it also could be a baseball cap. Is this like you remember that show, that British show in the 70s called UFO? This looks like some footage from that. It looks like maybe he has a tailbone right there. Or is that just the edge of his coat? I mean, it looks maybe like there's some fur down here and a foot. But the thing that I find interesting about this is there no actual like footage without the infrared or the thermal imaging or whatever. It's like, it'd have been nice because it looks like you're fairly close that maybe we could have actually seen something if it wasn't thermal imaging. JC Vaughn, though, it says Fidel Castro. I think that's a possibility. Randy Howell says UFO had sexy babes. Did it? I don't even remember. Like, I was so young when that show was on. It's never enough. I am constantly unsatisfied. So I don't know. It would have been nice if they had like the Bigfoot regular photography side by side by the imaging. But maybe it's so dark that you couldn't see it without the imaging. I don't know. Angela Chocolate Curries is saying that MF is not real. Wow, look at her getting salty on the show. Let's see. Aaron, UFO is freaking great on so many levels, says JC Vaughn. It's not without problems, but very pioneering. All I remember is, I watched that when I was really young, like under 10 years old. And all I remember was there wasn't enough aliens. I kept waiting for aliens to show up. Paul Taylor says, yeah, I think the aliens had weird contact lenses and the chicks were stacked and had blue hair. Oh. Angela, not only am I trying, I am succeeding, okay, in whatever it is that I'm attempting to do. JC is giving us like a complete rundown of UFO and making me feel guilty for making fun of it. All right. Okay, one other thing. Now, this is about, in my opinion, as legit as anything that we've seen on this show. Now, you guys have, I'm sure, have seen these AI. Let me just go ahead and play it. What does he say here?
I dropped some crazy riz on the huzz last night. No cap, it was bussin'.
I have a pretty good guess what he's talking about there, but I'm going to play ignorant.
I dropped some crazy riz on the huzz last night. No cap, it was bussin'.
You still guys aren't getting any sound? It's always something. It's always, why is technology so hard? It's like, why is it so hard? It should be easy. Okay. Well, where the heck is it? That's interesting. Why is that not showing up there? Well, I know why. I can't do anything about it. There's no sound. Sorry. But anyway, I love these AI videos that these guys are making with Bigfoot, but here's the problem. Bigfoot in all these videos just looks like a gorilla. He doesn't look Bigfooty enough. It's like they need to make him look just a little less monkey-like and give him a little bit more humanoid characteristics. So he's more like a caveman than just a monkey, I think. Like the Jack Link's beef jerky Bigfoot, or Rick Baker's Bigfoot in Harry and the Hendersons. This looks just too much like a gorilla, which tells me that the guy that's doing the AI on these needs to do a little bit better art direction. Now it has to be opened into my Chrome window to actually get sound. And this is not, it's off my desktop, so I can't really open it in the Chrome window. So that's why the sound thing, I don't know why they made that change, but StreamYard did, and it doesn't I can't just share a video with sound. It has to be in an open Chrome tab. So, but anyway, he's saying about his adventures with these two girls the previous night in very hip lingo that would be code. You know, if you're, you wouldn't understand it if you're my age, but I do understand it because I'm a wily veteran. So, yes, more Kelsey, less King Kong. That's the balance we're trying to strike here. So, all right. Well, I'm sorry I couldn't bring you Dan Lawless today. He contacted me. I said, hey, how about 5 o'clock? I sent him the link and okay. And he was in the chat earlier, so I don't know. Maybe I scared him off, but that's fine. We'll see him on Graybeards. JC Vaughn says, anytime you want to talk UFO, you have a special show dedicated to the show UFO, and then I'll have JC Vaughn come on. But I'd have to go back and watch all the episodes because I don't remember hardly anything. So anyway, thank you guys all for joining me. Appreciate you hanging in there despite the late start and despite the boomer moment. Well, just look at the bright side. At my age, it's only going to get worse. So thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Can't do the show without you. You guys know that. My love runs deep and sincere. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'll see you next week right here on Aaron Live. And don't forget, Wraith of God 3, links in the description of this video. Goodbye, everybody.